Good morning, everybody. My name is Hughes, that's G-U-U-S, and we've made it to 2021. Let's hope it's just slightly better than 2020 was. Up to this point, not much has changed, of course, but there's a lot of this year still to go. Now, of course, with a new year, you get New Year's resolutions, and that's exactly what I want to talk about today, because personally, my New Year's resolution is to not run for at least a week. And I know that might be strange coming from somebody who has a YouTube channel mainly focused on running. But I've been injured for quite some time. I've made multiple videos about it, and it just keeps kind of lurking in the background, coming back whenever I hope that I will recover again. So what I thought now is I'm not gonna run for 7 days at least, but what I'm still gonna do is I'm still gonna reach my step goal. So that's what I'm doing right here, out here. I'm just going for my walks every day, trying to reach those 10,000 steps for my step goal. And that's what brought me here. Now, talking about New Year's resolutions, of course, one of the biggest New Year's resolutions everybody always has is going to the gym more. But in the case of 2021, at least in a lot of countries right now, gyms are closed. So people might start picking up running outdoors. So then I asked myself, what if I would start running now and I wouldn't own any pair of running shoes? What pair of running shoes would I advise to myself? And that's what I want to talk about in this video. Now, I have 3 pairs of running shoes that you can get right now, and then there's one bonus pairs with some extra bonuses kind of in between. You'll find out exactly what that means during this video. But let's just get started. Now, I'm not gonna do it all out here because my hands are already freezing cold. So I'm gonna make it back home, and then I will talk to you there. Nothing beats a good cup of hot chocolate, of course. So nice. It's so nice to be outside, be cold. Well, I mean, that's not nice, but to then come inside and have a cup of hot chocolate or any hot beverage. I don't drink coffee, but any hot beverage is so nice and warm. It just makes you feel loved, I guess. Anyway, let's get started with shoes because there's a lot of them to go through. And the first shoe is the only shoe on this list that I actually own myself, and that's this one, the New Balance 880. This is the 4th iteration that I own of this shoe, and it's actually a funny story which also kind of advocates for the quality of this shoe, because I think the first 2 or even 3 times that I bought an iteration of this shoe, I didn't even notice that I actually bought the same shoe over and over again. So every time I would just go out to the running store, look at different shoes. In the end, this or previous versions of this was the one that fit the best and that felt the best on my feet. Now, I have to say it's a little bit of a boring running shoe. It just runs. That's what it does. And it works well for long runs. It works well for middle distance runs. It works well for some speed work. It's obviously not a speedy shoe. What I noticed is even though there's FreshFoam, which is relatively a responsive foam, the rubber on the outsole kind of dampens the effect of that midsole. But having a lot of rubber on the outsole does up the durability again. So, as I said, it's a little bit of a boring shoe. What makes it a little less boring is that there's a bunch of different colorways you can get it in. So if you like to combine kind of fashion and sports, that's something you can look into. Something else is this shoe does come in a GTX version, which is a Gore-Tex waterproof version. So if you run in rain a lot or you run in the winter and there's a lot of snow, then this might be a really good option to check out the Gore-Tex version. And it's also a specific colorway actually that the Gore-Tex version comes in. So the price for this shoe is 120 euros. I'll put other currencies on the screen somewhere around here. 120 euros, which I think is a really good price for this shoe. But the newer version, this is version 10, the 880 version 10. The newer version, 880 version 11, is already in the hands of reviewers. People are already having a look at it, and it's coming out in March of this year. Now, based on the reviews that I have seen, the newer version isn't that big an upgrade. So what I would do, if you do have the time and you can wait a little bit, is wait until March when the new version comes out, and then this older version will be on sale, right? So then buy this one, because it's 120 euros now. I can see it go quite a bit below 100 euros, which is already a really good price for this shoe. So that's the first one. Okay, we're on the move again. People needed the downstairs, so I'm gonna go to my room, which, like, okay, remember my last video about the accessories for the Insta360 Go? Remember what my setup looked like? This is it now. My parents somehow decided to renovate or start renovating my room in like the 4 weeks that I am here. Because I live in Sweden, as you might know, and I'm literally leaving in like half a week. And somehow this is the exact moment that they decide to remove the carpets and to remove all the closets and to move my bed around. But anyway, that's not the topic of this video. Let's talk about Nike, because Nike didn't have the best year. Their shoes and products in general, people didn't like them a whole lot, except for one, and that's their go-to fan favorite, the Pegasus 37. And this shoe is just really good. A really good all-round shoe, just like the last one, and kind of the topic of this video, I guess. But the Pegasus 37 has a React midsole foam, but in the forefoot it has a Zoom Air bubble. So even though you have the softness of the React midsole, the bubble in the forefoot will also make it more responsive, because if you start landing on your forefoot, that bubble is gonna squeeze together and kind of expand again, which is gonna give you kind of a trampoline effect, you could say. Similar to the 880, there's also a waterproof version, which is known as the Pegasus 37 Shield, which, of course, if you need it, you know where to find it. And price-wise, I was actually really surprised about the Pegasus 37, because even though it was originally on sale for about 120 euros, really quickly it dropped. And at the moment, you should be able to find both the normal version as well as the Shield version for between 90 and 100 euros. Also similar to the 880s, there are a lot of colorways here, so I'm sure there's a match for you out there. And then it's time for the final shoe, but let me first try to put you down here. There we go. I think that's all right. Looking good. All right, so the last shoe that you can get right now at the beginning of 2021 is what probably the most people consider to be the best running shoe of 2020. And that's a shoe from Saucony called the Endorphin Speed. Now, what makes the Endorphin Speed so special and, well, considered to be the best shoe of 2020? I think it is the nylon plate that's inside the shoe. So you have the midsole of the shoe, of course, which is relatively thick. So because of that, you don't have a big ground contact feel, and you don't have a lot of impact on your feet while you're running. Well, through the middle of this insole or midsole, there is a nylon plate, which adds more responsiveness to the midsole itself. So even though you have a soft ride, which is perfect for doing long runs, middle distance runs, and of course short runs as well, you also have a very responsive midsole because of that carbon fiber plate. And this makes the shoe perfect for so many different things. Now, when talking about colorways, there's two colorways. One very colorful one and one more black and white one with some gold around the edges. So that's a little bit of a negative compared to the other two shoes. But it doesn't take away all the excitement about the shoe and the fact that people think it's the best shoe of 2020. Have I told you already? Anyways, another negative about this shoe would be the price. I've looked right here in the Netherlands and it's about between 150 and 180 euros. You can find it for as low as 150 though. Maybe it's limited sizes, I don't know exactly, and of course it also depends on your situation, but it's a little more expensive than the other two shoes that we talked about. Does this take away the excitement? Maybe a little bit, but it's still a really good shoe, and I think it's important to consider this. If I'm only buying one running shoe, isn't it better to spend a little more on the best shoe of 2020 than to go for something cheap? And that's not to say that you should only go for this shoe, because the other two shoes that I've talked about in this video are really good already, but it is a consideration to make. Yeah, just think about it when looking at the different shoes. Also go out to a running store if they're open. And shit, I didn't think about this, right? I mean, I guess you could try all three of them, order all three of them and send two of them back or something like that. But if there's running stores open, of course you can try all three of them normally and then pick the one that you like the most. But those are the three shoes that I would advise you get and that are available right now in the beginning of 2021. And then, as I already said, the bonus shoe, a shoe that hasn't been released yet and won't be released, I believe, until March of this year, which is the Hoka Mach 4. But to me, this is a really exciting shoe as well. Why? I don't know exactly. I think it's just that the reviews about them have been super positive, and these reviews have also really focused on the fact that this is a kind of an all-round shoe, which is exactly what we're looking for in this video, right? So this is a shoe that I want to quickly just address. Know that it's getting released in March, have a look at it, and maybe you will want to wait until March to get this shoe. The Mach 3, don't get it, because people really didn't like it, but Hoka did something really good and really learned from their mistakes with the Mach 3, and the Mach 4 seems to have improved a lot, and people are actually really excited for it. I should probably check the price of that shoe, so be right back. Wait. Okay, so I'm very confused about the price of this shoe. I think it's gonna be around 140 euros. So it's perfectly in between. We have a 90 euro shoe. We have a 100 or 120 euro shoe, depending on when you might get the New Balance FreshFoam 880. Then we have 140, and then something between 150 and 180, more or less. So a good range of shoes for you to pick from. I think they're all great choices, and you're gonna have a lot of fun going out for your runs in any of these shoes. I would personally at least enjoy owning any of these shoes, to be honest. So have fun, go out there for your runs. I hope this video was helpful. I know it wasn't full reviews of each of these shoes, but I still hope that I gave you some inspiration to or some guidance as to what shoes to look at and what shoes not to look at, and I just hope it was helpful. But that's everything I wanted to talk about today. In case you thought this video was helpful, please consider leaving a like down below. What's your New Year's resolution? Let me know in the comments down below. And of course you can also leave anything else you want to say or ask down there. But that's everything I wanted to talk about. Thank you so much for watching. You just keep on rolling in this new pair of shoes that I just helped you find, and you will see me again in the next one. Bye bye.